October 25, 1985. Dubai International Airport. Two Boeing 737s sit on the tarmac, both leased, both wearing fresh paint. The airline that owns them has no passengers booked, no route network, and no history. The UAE government has written a check for $10 million and issued one instruction: build an airline that can compete with British Airways, Lufthansa, and Singapore Airlines. The men in the operations room are former executives from Gulf Air, Pakistan International, and British Caledonian. None of them believes this will work. Emirates Flight 600 departs for Karachi with 38 passengers. The break-even load is 60. The UAE has 1.5 million people in 1985. Most are expats who fly home once a year. There is no domestic market. Dubai is not a destination. The nearest hub with a real network is 2,000 miles away in Bahrain, controlled by Gulf Air. London is 6 hours west. Bombay is 2 hours east. Dubai sits in the dead center of nothing, and the men who founded Emirates understand this is the only advantage they have. Sheikh Ahmed bin Saeed Al Maktoum, the chairman, is 26 years old. His question is not how to serve Dubai, it is how to use Dubai to serve everyone else. The business model is transfer traffic. Fly a passenger from London to Dubai, then fly them onward to Singapore or Mumbai or Bangkok. Make Dubai the middle, not the end. It only works if the stopover is shorter than the competition's and the price is lower than a non-stop. British Airways flies London to Singapore direct in 13 hours. Emirates can do it in 14 with one stop and undercut BA by 15%. The bet is that budget-conscious passengers will trade 1 hour for $200. In 1986, Emirates adds Bangkok, Delhi, and Colombo. Load factors rise to 68%. The airline loses $7 million. The government covers the loss. No state demands profitability. No shareholder questions the strategy. Emirates exists to build Dubai, not to maximize return on invested capital. In 1987, the airline orders 4 Airbus A380s for $280 million. It has 21 monthly flights and no cash flow to service the debt. The order is financed through the Export-Import Bank of the United States, guaranteed by the UAE Ministry of Finance. Western governments subsidize Emirates because selling jets to the Gulf brings jobs to Seattle and Toulouse. The irony is that the subsidy will eventually destroy the very airlines those governments are trying to protect. But in 1987, no one is counting. Geography is Emirates' only structural advantage, but it is a violent one. Draw a circle 4,000 miles around Dubai. It touches London, Lagos, Shanghai, and Sydney. 2/3 of the world's population lives within 8 hours. British Airways can connect London to Asia, but it cannot connect Asia to Africa without backtracking through Europe. Emirates can connect both, and the flight is shorter. The legacy carriers optimized their networks for a world where hubs needed big local markets. Emirates is optimizing for a world where no one lives in the hub. Every passenger is connecting. Every route is a spoke. The hub has no intrinsic value except location. By 1992, Emirates has 16 aircraft and flies to 32 cities. Revenue is $650 million. The airline finally posts a profit, $18 million. A 2.8% margin. The government has pumped $300 million into Emirates since 1985, none of it callable debt. Dubai is building a second terminal. The city's strategic plan calls for 15 million annual passengers by 2000. That is 10 times the UAE's population. Maurice Flanagan, the managing director, tells the board the goal is not impossible if Emirates becomes the sole carrier serving the Indian subcontinent, East Africa, and Southeast Asia through Dubai. He does not say become, he says replace. The weapon Emirates chooses is capacity. In 1993, it orders 7 Boeing 777-200s for $1.2 billion. The 777 seats 300 in 3 classes and has the range to fly Dubai to New York non-stop. No aircraft this large has ever been this efficient. Emirates configures it with 42 business class seats, each a fully flat bed. British Airways 777 has 24. The bet is that premium passengers in London will choose a one-stop Emirates flight over a non-stop BA flight if the seat is better and the price is 20% lower. British Airways laughs. The yield on a London-Sydney premium ticket is $6,000. BA will not believe customers will trade a non-stop for a flatbed until they do. In 1998, Emirates flies 7 million passengers and posts a $140 million profit on $2.1 billion in revenue, a 6.7% margin. The 777 fleet is up to 12 aircraft. Dubai International handles 13 million passengers, already ahead of the 2000 target. British Airways, Lufthansa, and Air France are filing complaints with the European Commission. Their argument is that Emirates is not a real airline. It pays no corporate tax, leases its airport slots at below-market rates, and draws capital from a sovereign wealth fund with no requirement to show returns. The complaint goes nowhere. Dubai is not in the EU. The subsidies are legal under UAE law, and the passengers are voting with their wallets. November 17, 2000. The Dubai Air Show. Airbus announces the A380, a double-decker jet that seats 550 passengers, 150 more than the Boeing 747. It is the largest passenger aircraft ever built. Airbus has no launch customer. The project will die if no airline commits. Emirates places an order for 7, worth $2 billion. It is the first A380 order in history. Tim Clark, the airline's president, tells the press the A380 will allow Emirates to fly to London 6 times a day with one aircraft type. Heathrow has no room for 6 more daily 777 flights. It has room for 6 A380 flights, because the A380 uses the same gates as the 747 it will replace. The A380 is not an airplane, it is a gate hack. Heathrow allocates slots by flight, not by seats. An airline can fly a 150-seat 737 or a 550-seat A380 in the same slot. Emirates orders 58 more A380s in 2003, then 32 more in 2006. The total is now 97 aircraft, more than every other airline's A380 orders combined. British Airways orders 12. Lufthansa orders 15. They are buying the A380 to protect premium routes. Emirates is buying it to flood those routes with capacity and collapse the yield. A fully loaded Emirates A380 to London delivers 400 economy passengers and 150 premium passengers. British Airways' entire 777 to Dubai carries 48 premium passengers. Emirates does not need to win on yield, it needs to win on volume. October 2008. The first Emirates A380 enters service on the Dubai-New York route. The configuration is 489 seats, 399 in economy, 76 in business, and 14 in first-class suites with closing doors. The first-class ticket costs $18,000 round trip. The suite has a minibar, a 32-inch screen, and a shower. No commercial aircraft has ever had a shower. British Airways First Class has a fully flat bed and noise-canceling headphones. The gap in product is so wide that premium passengers who swore loyalty to BA for 20 years defect to Emirates the moment the A380 launches. Load factor on the route is 92% in month 1. The A380 was supposed to lower unit costs. Emirates is using it to raise unit revenue. By 2010, Emirates operates 13 A380s and flies to 105 cities. Revenue is $13.5 billion. Profit is $925 million, a 6.9% margin. Dubai International is now the world's 6th busiest airport. The legacy carriers are in crisis. British Airways posts a $656 million loss in 2009, its worst year in history. Lufthansa's profit falls 72%. Air France KLM loses $2 billion. The recession is the surface explanation. The structural explanation is that Emirates has added 300,000 premium seats a year to the market, at prices 25% below legacy fares. The legacy carriers cannot match the price, because they cannot match the cost base. Fuel, labor, and capital all cost more in London and Frankfurt than in Dubai. The legacies spent a century building a model where the hub fed the spokes. Emirates built a model where the hub is irrelevant. The U.S. legacy carriers joined the fight in 2015. Delta, American, and United file a joint complaint with the Department of Transportation, accusing Emirates, Qatar Airways, and Etihad of receiving $42 billion in state subsidies since 2004. The complaint cites free land, interest-free loans, fuel subsidies, and equity injections disguised as commercial transactions. It demands that the U.S. government renegotiate open skies agreements to cap Gulf carrier flights to American cities. The Obama administration opens an investigation but takes no action. Emirates' response is 32 pages. The core argument is 5 words: passengers prefer our product. In 2016, Emirates adds a 5th daily A380 to New York. The subsidy argument is true and irrelevant. Emirates does receive state support. The Dubai government owns the airline, funds the airport, and exempts it from taxes. But the U.S. legacies also receive subsidies: Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, government bailouts after 9/11, essential air service payments, and airport slots granted for free in the 1960s. The difference is not subsidy. It is return. Emirates takes state capital and turns it into global market share. The U.S. legacies take state capital and use it to survive bankruptcy. By 2017, Emirates carries 58 million passengers. American carries 198 million, but American's international revenue per passenger is $420. Emirates is $780. The legacy carriers are larger. Emirates is more valuable per seat. The A380 bet works until it stops working. In 2018, Airbus announces it will end A380 production in 2021. The reason is simple: no one except Emirates is buying them. The A380 burns 15% more fuel per seat than the 777X and requires 4 engines instead of 2. Airlines want fuel efficiency. Emirates wants capacity. But the capacity only matters if the routes are full. In March 2020, the pandemic grounds the entire Emirates A380 fleet. Demand for premium international travel collapses. The government injects $2 billion to keep the airline solvent. When flying resumes, Emirates brings back the 777s first. The A380s stay parked in the desert. Too big, too thirsty, too expensive to bring back unless the loads justify it. By 2023, Emirates is flying 115 A380s again. The bet on capacity was right after all. Premium demand recovered faster than anyone predicted. Business travel is down, but leisure travel to Dubai is at record levels. The UAE loosened visa rules, allowed 96-hour transit stays, and turned the airport into a destination. Passengers who would have connected through London or Frankfurt are now spending 2 days in Dubai. The A380 is full again. The airline carries 51 million passengers and posts a $3 billion profit on $31 billion in revenue, a 9.7% margin. That is higher than Delta, American, and United combined. The model is working because it was never really an airline model. It is an economic development model that happens to use aircraft. Today, Emirates operates 265 aircraft. The fleet is worth $47 billion at list prices. The airline flies to 158 cities across 6 continents. It has never filed for bankruptcy, never laid off staff during a crisis, and never cut capacity to preserve yield the way the legacies do. When demand falls, the government covers the loss. When demand rises, the profit goes to expanding the network. The U.S. legacies still lobby to restrict Gulf carrier access. They call it unfair competition. Emirates calls it geography. The argument will never be resolved because both sides are correct. Emirates does have structural advantages no private airline could replicate. But it also delivers a product passengers prefer. And in a market economy, that is supposed to be the point. The legacy carriers spent decades optimizing for profitability. Emirates optimized for scale. The legacies built networks to serve their home markets. Emirates built a network to serve everyone else's home markets through a hub no one lives in. The legacies treated aviation as a business. Emirates treated it as infrastructure. The lesson is not that state ownership always wins. Most state-owned airlines are inefficient, corrupt, and perpetually insolvent. The lesson is that when a state commits unlimited capital to a strategy that exploits a genuine geographic advantage, and when that strategy is executed without the constraints of private shareholders demanding quarterly returns, the result can be a machine that rewrites the competitive map. Emirates did not invent hub and spoke, it weaponized it. These videos take a lot of time and research to create, so if you enjoyed it, please consider liking and subscribing to support the channel. The final irony is that the A380 was supposed to be Emirates' greatest vulnerability. Every analyst said it was too big, too expensive, too dependent on a single use case. Boeing bet the future on the 787 Dreamliner, a smaller, more efficient jet that could open thinner routes. Airbus bet on the A380, and Emirates was the only airline that believed in the bet. The 787 has 1,100 orders and is highly profitable. The A380 has 251 orders, and Airbus lost billions. But Emirates is flying 115 A380s at a profit, and the airline just ordered 90 more 777s to replace the ones it will retire over the next decade. The machine is still expanding. October 25, 1985. 2 leased 737s and $10 million. No passengers, no network, no reason to believe it would work. 39 years later, Emirates is the world's largest long-haul carrier, and Dubai is the fourth-busiest airport on Earth. The city has 3.6 million residents and handles 87 million passengers a year. The ratio is 24 passengers for every resident. Heathrow handles 79 million and serves a metro area of 14 million. The ratio is 6-to-1. Dubai's entire economy is a hub for people who live somewhere else. Emirates is not an airline that serves Dubai. Dubai is a city that serves Emirates. The empire was never about passengers, it was about traffic. And the traffic, it turns out, is all that matters.